Hey YouTubers, we're going to do our second lawnmower video on the Honda Commercial, the HRC 216. So this one is a hydrostatic model, and this one right here has this problem where it came in where when you pull the traction, you can no longer pull it backwards, and that's what they're complaining about. The wheels lock up. I'll give you a close-up of this here. So with the cable undone, as we can see right here, the rear wheels, when you pull it back, just with one hand, they lock. So what that means is first thing you're going to want to check is this up in here, this pin right here. Okay, you see how this is all the way forward? That means that this thing is all the way up to speed. Now it doesn't matter that that's all the way forward, but if I can go like this, and look at that, now it rolls freely just by doing that. That means more than likely either something's wrong with this pin, which is this pin right here that you can see, the one that moves up and down right here, which this one is supposed to have. If you look up in here, there's a washer on there that's missing. And there's also the keyway the key that's missing in there. They use a hairpin. When I do these, I normally put a cotter pin back in there. So let's keep that in mind. But the other thing too is if you look at this on the cable adjustment, that's this one right here. If you notice, it's all the way to the very end, which it's not supposed to be all the way to the very end. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust that. So this is going to be, in order to get this piece back in here right here, what we're going to do to show you this is we're going to remove the entire plastic housing, which is just two of these Phillips, if you can see that up in there, two of these Phillips screws on the bottom, one right over here, and then pulling it off and actually checking the cable adjustment for proper tension, because this is way too tight. So let's get to it. Okay, so we got our parts here. We got a small cotter pin. We got our Honda washer, which goes on the pin right here. And when you do that, how we're going to do that with the cover removed and the two screws out, what we're going to do is we're going to take this pin right here. We're going to shove it through. We're going to make sure that we have the cable eye up in there. And if you notice, I've got it all the way back. That's all the way loose. So we're going to put this thing through the cable eye, which is how we got it right there. It goes through towards the outer edge of the handles. Now that we've got that on there, we're going to put our washer right here. I'm trying to hold this camera, and I'm trying to pull this washer out, so we're going to put our washer right on the edge here. You might have to slide the pin back over a little bit in order to get it to come through, but when you put this in here, you just kind of hold it, you do it, and now we're going to put our cotter pin in here, like so. We're just going to twist it around to the way that we need it. We're going to push it, and we're going to lock the cotter pin like so. Make it so it stays. And that way, your hairpin, the hairpin on these kind of sucks, because the hairpin will always fall out. But if you put a cotter pin in there and then snip off the you snip off the excess, or you can even leave it, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect it either way. But now that works properly. So the next thing is to tackle this cable adjustment. So when I do one, I like to get my base cable adjusted first. So you're going to need two 10mm wrenches. And what we're going to do is let me make sure I got the camera set in the right direction. And actually, if I can even do that closer up. Let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. If it'll stay. Yeah, it's wanting to move. There we go. So what I do is I take this one, I loosen the forward one here. This one's already loose. Because when you lengthen it, you're lengthening the sheath. You're actually taking the cable and you're not lengthening it. You're loosening it up so you got more slack in here. I know that's kind of common sense for a lot of people, but some people don't get that. So when I adjust one, what I like to do is I like to be able to have the cable all the way tight, like this. And I like to be able to move the mower back and forth. That's how I get my base adjustment on this thing. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to tighten up this outer one. And now that doesn't move around. So when I do this, what I want to see is I want to be able to pull the handle and release it and be able to walk it back. And then when I have the handle engaged, I like to be able to not move it. And then when I release it again, I like to be able to remove it. And that's your basic one. Now, when you're fine adjusting it, what we're going to do is we're going to start the mower up. And what you're going to do is you're going to adjust the cable so you have it all the way in the back position, and the mower, it's going to just start to walk. Is how that's going to work. So, without further ado, we're going to start this thing up. So, let me cut to that. Okay, so we got the engine running, and now you just want this thing to barely move, which it does, and it rolls back freely. And when it goes forward, you want it to increase, which it does. So that's the correct cable adjustment. You got it all the way back, it goes slow. All the way forward, it goes fast. All right. And on some of these, it's very common because these are kind of a flimsy cable here, or you got to push it all the way forward to get it to shut off. But that's how you adjust your Honda HRC cable on one of these babies that's hydrostatic. Catch you later.